Don't push me, don't tempt me. I'm running on empty. It's a long way.
Okay, so Q&A time.
You don't. You won't know that for a while. I've been training since November 2012, and just recently we were talking about my leg growth and what clearly hasn't worked for me alone by itself, and what has. So we devised a plan where for a month I was going to work legs 3 times a week, and I was going to do 3 separate things. I was going to go heavy, I was going to do super high reps, high volume, high sets, and then I had another day where I was just going to do tempo work. And the combination of everything worked. My whole prep I did really, really high reps, high sets, and that didn't really grow my legs at all. It conditioned them, but it did really nothing for growth. So you don't really know unless you go through it. Everybody's different. There's not a test. There's not something that's gonna say, oh, you're better at this. It's trial and error, and takes a while.
Really, I was just seeing no results doing anything else, and it just seemed like a lot of fun. I like to challenge myself, and it is definitely a challenge. I just kind of fell into it really. I started going to the gym just for something to do in the evenings, and then I actually wanted to get physically fitter. I was seeing all these fitness models on Instagram and Facebook, and then I just fell into it.
One, the name. I want to show people what competing is about, and talk about things that people don't want to talk about in competing, and show you how hard that we actually do work, even though it is I'm going to say it is vain, but to an extent it's really, really not. When I'm depleted and I'm show ready, I'm thinking about how I look, but you'd be surprised what is going through a lot of people's minds at that point. It's not, damn, I look really good. They're usually like, fuck, am I gonna be ready? Like, I don't think so. And people just see it as a pageant and a production, and they don't see what goes on behind the scenes to get to that point. So this project hopefully will shed some light on that, and when I start prepping here again in December, show you what goes on during that process. So I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad that there's so many different athletes to show you that competing is becoming really mainstream. A lot of people hear about it, but there's so many other ways to get fit, and you don't know which one you're gonna like. So I think this is a great channel to look at everything, and whatever one you identify with most and what is more appealing to you, it's a really good place to see that and figure it out. To be quite honest, no one and everyone. I don't have one specific person or a few people that motivate me, male or female. I draw motivation from everybody who is on there working and following their dream. That is what inspires me. I don't get inspired by people who are where I want to be, I guess you would say, because they went about it a different way. They went about it how they made it happen, but I want to make it happen for me, my way. And so I don't really get too caught up in this person is my idol, because I'm just not like that. I don't draw too much motivation from that, but I love seeing people positive and on there and working and with a great attitude. Those people, all of those people, are who are inspiring to me. It doesn't matter if they're famous in the bodybuilding industry or not. I follow a bunch of people who make me smile and make me happy to see them pursuing their passion.
A typical day of eating for me is a little bit mismatched. I'm a flexible dieter, so that just means that I have certain numbers I shoot for. I'm not prepping for a physique show, though I might want to look into that down the line. But as it's powerlifting, so I just hit myself calories to hit in during the day. I have my certain carbs, amounts of protein, amount of fat. I'm pretty lenient with how I'll hit that. I'll try to make sure a lot of it's through whole foods for the healthy aspects of the fitness lifestyle. But I also think it's really important to have a degree of flexibleness so that you can go out and eat and still keep roughly to your diet.
Bad if I say myself. Definitely all the female lifters out there, they all inspire me. I just want to be as strong as I can be, you know, improving myself physically and mentally in every aspect of my life, pretty much. No, I don't. This one's pretty funny. The answer to that is not really. Only if like I take a week off and then like my first squat day back, I'm always so sore. But other than that, like on normal days, every day I don't get sore. I like to squat.
It was the realization that this is what made me happy, doing this in my life, and that this was the industry that I wanted to be in. I went to school for psychology. Clearly that doesn't make any money. I mean, personal training doesn't really either, but I was happier helping people in fitness. My main job is working at a competitive swimsuit company, Ravish Sands, so everything in my life is geared towards this passion, and I haven't felt lost like I used to. So the realization that I liked feeling that way, like I found what I wanted to do, work for Ravish Sands, work for myself as well. So it really led me to take it more seriously. If I'm not going to take myself and my passion seriously, then who is going to take you seriously? You only have you in reality. So whatever you love to do, whatever your passion is, you can make that your life.
My original inspiration came from where I was in the first place. I started off very much overweight, and like a lot of people, I was bullied, and it kind of gives you a reason to start something new. I was actually dragged into the gym by my older brother just because he needed a spot, but I quickly found my love for it. I think the real inspiration came from the progress and success, seeing that I could actually make a change, and that I could get quite so far with it.
I definitely concern myself with the long-term effects of different workouts and supplementation. I like the classic bodybuilding physique, so I use a belt while I work out to keep a small waist. I do a lot of high volume, not as much ultra heavy. I will take a month or two and do some ultra heavy stuff, but again, I want to always maintain a really small waist. Honestly, no matter what, I'm not willing to sacrifice that. That's also why I don't do a big crazy bulk, that type of thing. Supplementation goes, I've never really boycotted anything. I'm more into actual ingredients than I am just buying, a fat burner or this. I love to look up ingredients, pretty schooled in supplementation. So that side of things, I really try to, I would never recommend somebody to take something if they don't know what everything on that label stands for. A lot of times in training, we will pay attention to our diet and know everything on a label, but then we'll buy something from a supplement store and yet won't know everything on that label, and that seems a little funny to me. So yeah, absolutely learn the stuff that you're taking and know exactly what you're putting in your body.
Myself, I a person who draws a lot of motivation from within me and the support from within myself. I think that's really, really important, and I think motivation comes from the visualization process of seeing yourself where you want to be ultimately. And I don't care if it's 5 years from now, if it's 10 years from now. I think visualization gets lost and people don't do it enough. And they look at people who are visualizing and say, I'm gonna be here, and they're like, you're crazy. If you don't visualize it, I don't think it's gonna happen for you, because then you're not really adamant about the steps that you are taking to get there. So I'm really lucky that I have motivation every day next to me. My boyfriend is a bodybuilder. He's been competing for a few years, and he's had so many setbacks, but it's the dream, it's the visualization of where he wants to be, and it keeps him going, and that motivates me to see that. And my coach, he pushes me every day, but that isn't enough for me. I don't get motivated sometimes from them, yelling at me, pushing at me. I'm like, yeah, whatever. If I don't get pissed at myself, if I don't want it for myself, then it's not gonna happen. They could yell at me all they want, and I'm just like, whatever, I don't want to do it today. Well, it's because I don't want to, and if it's not inside of me that day, then it's not going to happen. And I think we get really caught up in what other people are telling us. You need to take off a few years because of this, you're too small because of this, and do this to them, because it's your life, it's your goal, it's your vision, and you have to motivate you. Stop looking for it outside, because when it falls off, when it's not there anymore, when it doesn't work, you only have you.
I actually get discouraged quite often. In fact, over the last week of training, it's quite regular that things can get really hard and a lot of struggles come by, especially with powerlifting. You bring on injuries and it slows you down massively. I think my main source of motivation that I always draw back on is where I started. So going back to my original inspiration, being very overweight, knowing that I can make that progress, trying to remind myself of where I'm going, what I'm aiming for. If I know I've got somewhere to get to, I know I've got to put the work in, I have to put the time in. After a while, it stops just being a motivation, it's part of your routine. You go back every day, you know what you have to do. You don't have to push yourself so hard, but sometimes it's good to remind yourself where you're going, what you're working for. Another part of what gets me back on track usually is, as you can see in here, which I'll try and flash up, I keep a reminder of everything I've done. I keep a reminder of what I'm aiming for, the inspiration I'm trying to provide for other people, of how far I've come, the changes I've made, the people I've managed to help. I think it's really important just to keep reminding yourself of everywhere you've gotten. Everyone likes to think of how far they have to go, but they seem to forget how much they've done in the time since they started. So it's just remind yourself of the weight you lost, the strength you gained, the changes you made. I think that's key.
I find that this dedication to the gym can either be a really good thing or a really bad thing regarding your social life. So for me, I actually discovered who were my true friends, and a lot of big realizations happened, and I lost a few friends on the way who wouldn't support my decision to become fit and strong. But I gained some of the most amazing friends, and you really get to see who is supporting you.
There might be varying views on this, but working out in the morning can be tough. Your cortisol levels are high anyway, typically. I don't do well with carbs in the morning. They tend to really stick on my body as fat. I don't really use them for energy. I typically don't have carbs, a significant amount of carbs until lunch. I start off every morning with a tablespoon of coconut oil and fish oil. I love the coconut oil for energy. I really think it supplies my energy for a workout. That being said, if I do caffeine for a pre-workout, that can be a little overwhelming for an early morning workout. One trick I've used here lately is eating a Quest bar between my pre-workout and my workout. Seems to kind of calm the nerves. I also supplement taurine to kind of calm the caffeine effects. So those are a couple of good tricks. Post-workout I go protein, like a whey, something like that, really fast digesting, and I don't have carbs really until lunchtime. So yeah, I still keep with healthy fats and protein in the morning even though I work out. Although, like I say, the Quest bars work lately. It's a high fiber bar, so you get fiber. You're not sacrificing a ton of really carbs in the morning, but it just seems to kind of hold me over, get some sodium in me, that type of thing. This is a really good question and just a huge compliment. Thank you for that. It means a lot. I would say the biggest things that I've done differently are nutrient timing. I pay a lot of close attention to when and what I'm putting into my body as far as the time of day compared to my workouts, that type of thing. I have also really looked into supplementation, like I mentioned before, the ingredients, knowing exactly what I'm using, stuff like ALA, coconut oil, L-carnitine, that type of thing is help keep the body fat off while I'm trying to add some muscle. The workout, I'm changed how I worked out and when. Have a really great gym. Surround myself with people that are really with the same goals as me. Not saying I couldn't have done it at home, but boy, it sure just has given me a leg up. I get to bounce ideas off of people. Get to see that that there's other people out there grinding, and I can always work harder, be more accountable, that type of thing. Time of day, I work out at the same time every day. I don't mix it up. That helps with nutrient timing. It helps me be consistent. It's not the perfect time of day probably to lift, but it's my time of day. I can get it done every single day with that. I'm not bouncing around at 11 in the morning to 9 at night and having less than 24 hours in between lifts, that type of thing.
Don't push me, don't tempt me. I'm running on empty. It's a long way down from here. Yeah, 'cause I'm right where you